So real quick, I want to show you guys what is going to be in the book as far as the glossary and how I'm going to use terms so that way I could stick to something that you're going to have to look at the glossary. So this is how I've kind of looked at how everything is like a chain reaction, the trinity of reaction and action, which is the intelligence, really actually be over reaction and action, but you're going to see that in the glossary. Then it goes to the trinity of biodiversity, humans, plants, and animals, and the trinity of belief systems, and the trinity of intention to the trinity of reactions. And then it goes to the trinity of, I can't see that. Oh yeah, potential, whole system potential. And then you'll see it, the trinity of class systems. And then the trinity of disease, the trinity of marketing, and you see that feeds into the trinity of illusions, and it feeds into the trinity of energy, and the trinity of evolution or de-evolution to the indefinite, and then trinity of death, and then you go to the trinity of communication, trinity of intelligence, and then trinity of lifespans, trinity of change management. And you guys could take all this information, use it for your own, I don't really care. This is all can go into my book and it's all for the taking. Trinity of human identity, because we all have to find a way to offshoot this information to make life better. Trinity of immortality, trinity of trinity of life, fermentation, trinity of implementation, and then trinity of JJ protocol. Okay, so I'm going to turn this back around. What the hell? Oh, here we go. And then, yeah, everything's about fuel efficiency. Like, I finally figured out some analogies that even some of the blue-collar people can understand, because I'm telling you, those that are working men and women who understand cars, even the ones that are white collar that understand cars, you might understand this analogy. So that way you can understand what fuel efficiency is. Okay? Fuel efficiency is not having to do with the fuel. I mean, yeah, it does. But it's like if you're putting fuel on, like food on a body that is not able to take on that fuel, then what's the point, right? It's like pouring water on a Pinto or pouring, gas in a really good gas in a Pinto. But fuel efficiency is how much activity can you get between each fill up. And are you going to get really good fuel efficiency where you can go long miles per gallon, or are you going to get short fuel efficiency? And so what did I say as far as this intellectual, or was the IQ test type question? Okay. I'm gonna try this again. I am live. All right. So I said jelly juice is to the food supply is what the food supply will be to the body, making it more fuel efficient. And so people are putting miles on their body without maintaining the car, and it won't matter what kind of fuel if the car is breaking down. If there's wires crossed or clogged up fuel filters, there's no way you're going to maximize any gasoline or fuel if the car isn't maintained correctly. Okay, so Jilly juice actually makes the car more efficient, more fuel efficient. Jilly juice and the food supply. Because not really just Jilly juice to the body, it's Jilly juice to the food supply, because without the food supply, then you're not going to have anything to the body. So you got a very high quality gas on a very high quality car, but very high quality gas on a Pinto, it's like pouring water in a colander. What is the point? So the fly in the ointment. Now, this one article that I posted that's in this Facebook Live does make recommendations of like locally owned vegetables, but I'm just like, forget the whole local organic crap versus big agri. Big agri is just as good as your local stuff, okay? So fly in the ointment. Our biking economies look pretty decent stacked up against cars, especially if we consider consuming foodstuff as potent as gasoline. This is all well and good until one appreciates that because the way Americans grow, harvest, and distribute and prepare their food, every 1 kilocalorie of food eaten has consumed about 50 kcal of fossil fuel energy dominated by the oil. Okay, so our 700 kcal gallon of food therefore took 70,000 kcal of fossil fuel energy to produce, or a little over 2 gallons of gasoline. So you divide the food economy value we calculate by 2.2 to get the fuel economy by that supported by the bike trip or hike. Now walking consumes 18. Okay. So anyways, we're talking about how the food supply is related to how much fossil fuels. And then you look at also how your body is maximizing the food supply and how much energy it's using. And so, yeah, that's the whole point of J juice, is to allow the body to be more fuel efficient. Fuel efficiency is a form of thermal efficiency, meaning the ratio of effort to result of a process that converts chemical potential energy contained in a carrier into kinetic energy or work. At its most fundamental, fuel efficiency refers to the ability of a vehicle to extract energy from fuel. The more energy a vehicle can extract from fuel, the greater fuel efficiency the vehicle is said to have. Similarly, the less energy a vehicle extracts, the less fuel efficient the vehicle. Okay. Miles per gallon, also known as fuel economy. Fuel efficiency is a measure of how far a vehicle can travel per unit of fuel. In the United States, this is expressed as miles per gallon, MPG. Fuel efficient vehicles require less gas to go a given distance. So that's the thing. I need as much food relative to the environment, but some people eat so much food and it's not doing anything for them. Some people eat very little food and of course it's not doing anything for them. And so sometimes I eat a lot of food based upon my environment, and sometimes I hardly eat anything at all. Like last night, I hardly ate anything at all because my body didn't need it because I was really fuel efficient at the time. I didn't need as much fuel. But then when there is transducers in the environment, like a virus, like, a lot of activity, who knows, maybe I've done a lot more that day. And so I need to bring in more fuel into my body. And thank God I have maintained my vehicle, my body, well enough to make then that gas and on my body be very fuel efficient. And so you have to understand that Jilly juice is like when a Jilly juice to a body, after a body finally heals and seals and it's up to par on some level. Okay, Jilly juice in the food supply will finally allow your body to be so fuel efficient that you won't be like in the junkyard. I mean, why do people have issues with the food supply? Because they have wires crossed. They can blame it on the food, but here's the thing. It's how you react to your symptoms. That's the only thing, because no matter what, everyone needs food. You can have 50 people and you can have one food and that food be fine. But why do people have different reactions to the food? Because it's the type of car that they're driving, their body. You have 10 people. One could be like, 1974 Pinto, not maintained well. Another could be like a nice Tesla. Well, okay, but who doesn't drive by itself and won't explode. One car could be, a Mercedes Benz. Another car could be a Cadillac or an Escalade. Another car could be like a Chevy Malibu. And so each of those people, 10 people who actually have like the type of car that I'm mentioning, they will use the fuel differently. And some will not have very good fuel efficiency. The other car would have an amazing fuel efficiency. So that's that's going to be a very good analogy I'm going to put in my book, as far as people's bodies are like the different type of cars out there on the road. And since I live in a very diverse community, I see all the way from a really crappy car with crappy mufflers all the way to really nice cars that go fast, that are smooth going down the road. And I'm telling you, it's all based upon the quality of the car. And so the quality of the car will then have to do with how they're going to maximize fuel and make their body fuel efficient. And so yes, Jilly juice and the food supply applied to the body is like, fuel efficiency or something. I had to find a way to say it a little bit more smoother. Okay, Jilly juice is to the food supply is what the food supply will be to the body, making it more fuel efficient. And that is it. So, if you have cancer disease and chronic illness, and you have autoimmune disorders, and you have been diagnosed, and you're doing the pot, and you're aging and degrading, then you are not going to be using food very efficiently. And it is about thermodynamics. And so maybe it's time you upgrade your body with Jilly juice and the food supply. Feel the pain, because that's the only thing that is what people are doing that is causing them not to be fuel efficient, is the fact that they are putting more holes in their body by taking antibiotics, by taking out organs, by doing all these different procedures in the holistic medical field. And when you are steadily practicing the pills, powder, supplements, detoxes, all the different operations and surgical procedures, how, it's like somebody taking a screwdriver and just putting holes in the gas tank. How long do you think the car is going to run when there's so many holes in the gas tank? So I'll find a way to make this sound better, but this is what came to me last night, because I'm in freaking blue collar America. I'm in middle America, and the blue collar people a lot of them know about cars. Come on, this analogy should be able to reach you. And if it doesn't reach you, then you're being stubborn because you don't like me. That's what I can think of, is that the reason why people don't understand this analogy is that either they're not listening and they don't want to listen, or they just don't like me. Because, people can get it if they don't have to do anything about it. And that's different than getting it and doing something about it. Okay? But if someone, I think anybody that is a blue collar worker, that works with their hands, they understand this analogy. Whether or not they'll do something about it is completely different, but I think they will get this analogy. And then yes, now you have a choice. Because I finally brought it down to the blue collar world. The white collar world can get it too as well on some level, but they choose not to because it's easier to just go along their merry way. Because I think the white collar world has some ounce of intelligence as well. I just have to say it in the IT way. I have to say it in an organizational development way. Okay, I got to speak to their listening. But I think, and then I've also spoken to the listening of the CB radio world. As far as transducers and antennas and, all that stuff. So there's so many ways in which I could talk about this, and it's just like insane. But I figure, since there are people in both the white collar world and the blue collar world that do work with cars, they understand fuel efficiency. Because most people out there are buying new cars or buying old vintage cars, and some are really crappy on the fuel efficiency, some are really great. And always the older cars are crappy on the fuel efficiency. Why is that? Because they're older. They can be maintained well, but they're older and they don't have the latest and greatest to process that fuel correctly and give you more return on your investment. All right. Have a good day. Bye.